Hey guys, welcome back to FX Forecasting, bringing you your insight for the week ahead in the markets. Let's get started and jump into technicals. So going on Euro US dollar daily, we're still within that range at the moment. We've been discussing about this, of how you can pretty much trade both ways at the moment whilst it is in this range. And more importantly, when we jump down to the 15-minute time frame on the euro against the US dollar daily, we've been seeing some nice cluster entries, circling a couple here. So if you follow the direction of the overall market on the 15-minute time frame and picking up these short-term movements, it seems like majority of the cluster positions here have been profitable, and that is mainly due to the fact that you can take both sides when the market is stuck within this range, as there isn't an overall clear decision. Whereas on the 15 minutes, you get a smaller picture of what is going on within the markets, and these entries are pretty predictable, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the cluster is calling them lovely. It's pretty much in and out. You don't want to be sort of, holding the trades when it's this choppy, range bound.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so looking to hold these just for the day traders there, getting in and getting out of the markets. So what is our analysis on euro against the US dollar? We are in a range. We are looking to place trades based on the 15-minute time frame, and not really taking into account the daily at the moment until there is clear direction on that range. So again, unfortunately, euro US dollar is still caution whilst we remain in that zone. So yeah, just looking at the 15 minutes and taking those nice cluster entries. Let's move on to pound against the US dollar. Theoretically, we are in an established uptrend, and it looks like we are breaking out of that range. We have done, which is slightly different to the euro US dollar play. As you guys know, I have been very much short selling into these spikes on pound against the US dollar. I haven't placed any trades this week on pound against US dollar. However, there are some nice potentials to get in short on pound. Overall, the play is to the upside, but I do believe that we could see pound against US dollar sell off and come back down to these lows again until we see a very clear break, which I'm hoping that we see by the next forecast video. We'll hopefully see this outside of this range moving up to the next level, and that'll give me some sort of confidence there to stop my short bias and look to actually get back to the rules of following the trend. So when we go down to the 15-minute time frame here, we can see the trend has switched to the downside on the 15 minutes, and that we had that big strong move up there from the stronger pound, which Elliot will talk about why that's happened a little bit later on the fundamentals. But we've had the technical transition to the downside now, and ideally I'm really looking forward to being able to get short. It might not even go as high as this. I could be looking at R1 there, showing the downtrend on the 15 minutes and placing my shorts into that overall market there. Technically could go up to the previous highs and look to sell off as well. So my personal play, going to be looking at short sales, is against the trend, so that is something to note there. Any technical comments you want to add, Elliot?
Technical comments, no.
Yeah, no technicals. We'll come to the fundamentals on pound US dollar shortly. So yeah, nice looking for shorts on pound. Well, US dollar against Japanese yen, I think this is something that we've got to just keep patting ourselves on the back for. We've been predicting this week after week after week of exactly what's been going on. And this was last week's forecast, what you can see here. We saw the break there of that 104 level, and it was a heavy break. And this was mainly due to the election night. We was lucky enough to see the uptick following this from the vaccine. So we was looking to short out at the retest of 104, but we was lucky enough to see it actually push a lot higher now than that, which is great. So we've seen price come back from that low level, go back up forming the lower high. The daily 8 and 21 is actually still in a downwards motion, and we are still getting these lower highs transitioning on the daily time frame. So full on looking to short sell into this. This will probably be my focus actually for this week, is looking at the US dollar against the Japanese yen, and looking to take it back down to that 104 level with my initial caution, and then even down to the previous low potentially. When we jump down to the 15 minutes, we can see that we saw this big move up here around on the 9th there of November. We saw that huge move, and then after that, we've kind of seen it kind of the momentum sort of phase out and fizzle out. We've seen the moving averages cross over on Thursday. And on Friday, as you can see here, we've now got price forming that lower high now. I'm rejecting the pivot point, and now I'm expecting this to see a continued down play all the way back down to that 104 level initially, and then ideally coming back down to the previous low. So technically, US dollar yen for me looks like probably one of the most sound setups out of the three, wouldn't you say?
Definitely, yeah. Technically, yeah.
Yeah, great. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to fundamentals of what's been happening in the previous week, and also what to expect this coming week as well. So I'll be handing over to Elliot to go over this news for you, bringing you the fundamentals.
A mad week again this week. It's been very interesting. Obviously, last Monday, we saw Pfizer come out with their results of their trial and a greater than 90% efficacy rate on COVID, which took the market by surprise. And we saw in that morning equities rallied.
Yeah.
We saw strength come back into the US dollar.
Don't forget to give credit to the Sputnik as well. Obviously, is it Sputnik, the Russian one? It's the Sputnik's 92% success rate.
Obviously, they have to beat the US, don't they?
Yeah.
Timing was amazing. They came out on Thursday or Wednesday.
We'll let them go first, and then we'll announce our Sputnik.
Yeah, we'll just beat them by a couple of percent. But yeah, so there's still a lot of questions around this vaccine. Obviously, no one's doubting the results. It's more the distribution challenges that will come with it. It has to be stored at like minus 80 degrees, otherwise it goes off. Obviously, there's 2 doses, so how that will be stored whilst being distributed around the world. So obviously, the governments have already ordered millions and millions of these doses. And also, we covered last week the new strain of COVID that's hit Denmark and the mink population.
Yeah.
Obviously, this hasn't been trialled against that. How bad is that strain? How much will that cover? Will that spread across the world? And again, will that put us back a step or so?
Yeah.
But anyway, very positive news. However, taken with a pinch of salt.
Also something to add on that Pfizer as well. We also had the CEO, didn't we? Perfect timing. Sold off 60% of their holdings.
Their stake,
their
which
stake.
was a planned transaction from August. However, the timing of the result the trial announcement, and it was the same day that he was selling those shares. Interesting, anyway. We saw, like I said, new highs for S&P, and Dow hit 30,000 before selling off back towards 29,000. We'll cover that in the next slide. However, more interestingly, we've seen the FTSE, the UK benchmark index, outperform its US counterparts this week. Yeah. Which is probably the first time in yonks.
Forever, yeah. We've been talking about if we was just trading in the US and not in the UK, we'd have done 10 times better by now.
And a lot of that is due to the makeup of the FTSE 100, the companies within that are, we've talked about the move out of tech into value, that sort of trade this week that we've seen. So obviously heavy service sector in the FTSE 100, which has sort of led to that outperformance of the FTSE compared to the US. We've also seen the election that's continued to drag on. So Trump is refusing to concede, his presidency. He's still citing his voting fraud. He's still gathering his evidence. I think the mainstream media are very biased towards Biden at the moment. They're, completely disregarding any sort of evidence, saying he's got no evidence. All I'm reading is no evidence provided. Like most people probably have the social videos that are going around of people ripping up ballots. Yeah. It's hard to know what's genuine and what's made up, but there's definitely something there. But anyway, the media now basically given Biden 290 seats. They're saying he's going to win Arizona, so it's making Trump's case look less likely. However, if there is voting fraud, what is this going to mean for the country going forward? I can see riots either way, really. The longer this drags on, even if Biden does win, I can see the Conservatives getting very angry and possibly...
And a lot of the world leaders have already congratulated Biden as well.
China came out as well and congratulated him.
Well, the UK did as well. UK and
UK
Germany.
want the blooming... They need a deal, don't we? So it's, Anyway, the coronavirus spread continues. We've seen 50,000 deaths in the UK announced this week. The cases are continuing, so it's brought a bit of worry back into the the financial markets, the equity markets. We had that big rally and sort of a bit of a sell-off towards the middle of the week where they thought, actually, the cases are still rising. Are people taking this lockdown seriously? Hospital cases are rising. So there's still a bit of concern around coronavirus, and rightly so. Also, we've had some bad sort of stimulus deal news come out. Trump has walked away from negotiations again. However, I think the markets are still hoping that a deal can be done sooner rather than later. And we saw the central bankers come out and say that more is needed. The vaccine doesn't cure everything. It doesn't stop these countries and these consumers that are hurting now, and that more is needed to be done, both in the US and over here. Another interesting fact that I saw come out was Elon Musk confused. He took 4 tests on the same day. 2 came back positive and 2 came back negative.
Wow.
So the accuracy of test results. That's to be fair, these are the rapid 15-minute ones, so you get them back within 15 minutes. They're called like antigen.
So how much of he's proving a point though, right? How many of these are actually?
What the hell?
I've seen a lot of stuff about that, and I haven't really looked into it, but about the false positive tests as well.
False positives. Yeah. So it's a quick look at the Dow. As mentioned in our last week video, we were basically saying a break above this level would be bearish for the markets. We saw that break, and then not long after, we obviously saw the vaccine news come out. Obviously unrelated, however, that did cause a massive move in the markets. Pre-open, the US was up 5-6%. We then said, as we've spoken about on the previous slide, we've seen a pullback. And now the interesting level here is this previous high back in October that's been tested twice now. Early in the week, we saw quite a strong recovery back to 29,660. We then saw a slow sort of down moving sell-off back towards Thursday, Friday morning, and we've also seen sort of another bounce off that level. So we may see, if the market can break out this level here, we may see a move back up to 29,600. If that fails and we see a break of this level, then I expect us to come back down to 28,500. Interesting times in the market, but look at this recovery here.
Yeah, incredible. I think we may have to start looking at adding FTSE into
I was going to put it in,
the indices
but ran out of time.
Yeah, I think we'll get in the comments if you want to see the FTSE analysis as well, because obviously it looks like we've got a lot of transitioning going on there with the EU markets outperforming the US currently over the last few days since the vaccine. Anyway, I won't butt in.
Looking to next week and looking forward, obviously, US election is still going to be the main headlines, or one of the main headlines. I still can't see Trump accepting it. It's going to continue.
Agreed.
And will this lead to riots?
Yeah. I mean, the interesting part on that as well on the US elections is that we're now seeing betting agencies allowing for Trump cash outs, which is quite interesting. I don't know what to take from that, whether or not they want to de-risk their books against Trump because of the amount of individuals that was betting on a Trump victory. But the fact that he's not backing down and there is that potential strand of hope, it's interesting to see the betting agencies now allowing for cash outs.
But they're not paying out. They're not actually paying out on winning bets.
No, they're holding it,
they're holding. But you can cash out early on Trump bets. It's interesting. Another key theme in the market is going to still be the stimulus package. Like I said, central bankers are saying that's still very much needed. We're also expecting other vaccine news coming out of these other companies that are in their late stage trials. Can they match the effective rates of Pfizer, or will they not match up to them? The interesting one is Moderna, that should be coming out soon. They've announced that they're ready to sort of finally analyse their results, so that should be hopefully next week we see those results.
Yeah, is there any news on Novavax?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, haven't you? I think Novavax was also I think it was shortlisted by the FDA for quick approval.
Looking back over to the UK, obviously Brexit. It looks like it's going down to the wire again. Also heard news that Cummins is set to quit. He's handed in his resignation. He's angry, obviously he's an angry man. And the EU countries have come out and said they need time to pass laws. They're not going to do UK any favours by just quickly, pushing these laws through just because of the UK needs them. So, which is a bit of negative news. I think sort of we saw that big rally in cable, and that's sort of why it's sort of selling off again. However, we have saw a bit of a bounce this morning off that 1.31 level. Definitely, I think the traders are positioning for a deal to be done. I still get that feel in the markets. When we see any sort of positive move, that is just jumped on by traders, less so with the negative. I think if it was pricing in no deal, would be lower down on the exchange rate.
Yeah.
We've also seen more news of the UK looking at other deals with other countries. Obviously, Brazil is one of the ones that have hit the markets this week. And interestingly, now it looks like Biden will be the next president. What is that trade deal with the UK and US going to look like?
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to do a deal with us, is he? He's doing a deal with Ireland, isn't he?
I mean, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, Trump and Bojo were big pals.
Yeah.
So now Biden may just be...
Biden might look at him and get confused and go, it's Trump or something. You never know.
Is this Trump's brother, cousin?
Yeah. Where am I?
And then looking at the economic calendar, we've got retail sales coming out of the UK and the US, and we've also got inflation coming out of the UK and Europe, which we don't really expect any surprises there. Retail sales will be interesting to look at, to see if there was, that bounce back sort of continue.
Yeah, so I think we can finally say that this is actually a less exciting week than last week.
You reckon next week's going to be, I don't know, what about vaccine news comes out and it's all...
True, to be fair, I think equities is going to be a big focus play over the FX side.
Brexit again, I think that's going to be more news, it's just going to be coming out.
Yeah. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We hope that this insight is a great play in your positioning and insight into how you plan on attacking the markets this week. Obviously, we've got our cash giveaway that goes on every week. The winner's name will be in the pinned comment down below. Don't forget to thumbs up, comment and subscribe. And to enter our cash giveaway of this week, just click the link, chuck in your details, and who knows, you might end up with a couple £100 from joining our cash giveaway. See you next week, guys, and thanks for joining us.